dose. Approximately 1/8 of a teaspoon smoked from a metal pipe. At around 7 a.m. on October the 21st, I put on some music and filled the pipe. I breathed out a bit and then drew as hard as I could on the flame until the dark green in the bowl had become a burning orange, and my lungs and throat felt the intensity which usually leads to coughing. This sensation died away quickly and I was able to hold in the smoke. I had a cell phone opened to time myself 30 seconds as recommended by others. But I was unable to start the timer, and the whole activity was made useless almost instantly, as the world I knew drastically and violently changed around and within me. Reality is gone, torn from me as I am being torn from it. A picture of the world, with me in it, being ripped into tiny pieces. My whole life, my friends and family, my pain and philosophies, all of my memories and beliefs, and all of the things that tether me to conscious functioning are being pulled from me in layers. I am not myself, nor have I ever been. I am a singular aspect of awareness attached to a single particle or tear in the fabric of another reality altogether. I'm a screaming puppet aspect being pulled back into the whole. As if a child's picture of a smiling face had extended outward with a multitude of tears that must inevitably be reformed as a part of the whole. Yet, while exposed, one of the tears realizes its life is a dream, now being extinguished in order to preserve the integrity of the original design. An audience of cold demonic aliens is watching, and they can see me screaming at the edge of my tear. The musical patterns I have always enjoyed turn against me. Accents and rhythms serving merely to manipulate a fragile mind into the grain of a child's picture in some nightmare universe. Notes or psychic strings pulling me and twisting me. Satanic patterns constructed with malicious intent cut into my being and begin to devour everything in their wake. Somehow I am able to struggle through the process of turning the music off and reach for a nearby cell phone which I force open. I can clearly see the part of the cell phone that is lit up and the part of my hand holding it separate from the nonsense world of layers around me, and this is a cold comfort. I put the phone down in the visual patterns of my carpet, as the sonic patterns of the music had before begin to aggressively carve into my psyche. I can see my cat running across the floor as if it is just one cat, one floor, among multitudes all shifting and folding in like a flower at night. With great effort I rise, and, fighting against this tide of terrifying madness, run to the front door and open it, though I do not dare go outside. At some point I shut the door, and the cheap cold metal attunes me to the dangerous nature of reality juxtaposed with the numbing swirling fantasy I am experiencing. I run to the kitchen, and then back into the living room. I have to stop them from both, peeling me away, and pulling me back, into the picture wherein I will be eternally lost. I have to voice my dissent of this outrage. I must leave a message for the others, so that they may know what happened to me, and what will inevitably happen to all of them as well. I grab a binder and open it. I feverishly write something, but this isn't helping, and I am still being pulled back. Running into my room and plunging my hand beneath the pillow, I find a recording device that I had left there in an attempt to speak into it, but I can somehow see that the memory is full. I begin a wild search for another recording device, and when I miraculously find one, I press the necessary buttons and begin to speak out. And finally, thankfully, I also begin to calm down. The entire trip must have been somewhere around 10 to 30 minutes, with the most intense part closer to the 10-minute mark. It was a good hour before I was convinced that I would be okay, relatively speaking, and was able to continue on with my previous activities. During the trip I had thought, I had prayed, that I could just fall asleep at some point, But just as the drug hits you out of nowhere, it suddenly begins to dissipate and you are eventually somehow sober and sane again. It is like having an intense nightmare only to have the terror fade quickly as your consciousness acclimates to waking life, swiftly being emotionally forgotten as if you weren't in a serious state of fear just moments before. It was just a dream. It is just a buzz. One finds the familiar patterns that give comfort and a sense of stability in an often painful and terrifying existence take hold again. And these disorienting existential moments can be analysed and appreciated through a less hypersensitized lens of perception. Life and reality, as they are, go on. There did seem to be a few days of lingering depression, and later, creative inspiration. But if I was privy to an illumination concerning the nature of the cosmos and existence, what I found was entirely horrifying, and absent any element that I could seriously call sacred. Why does one think that the consciousness, that they, are a part of the soul, if such a thing even exists? Why does the mind insist that it be the ruler of the body, when cessation against all conscious efforts continuously proves that it is the body that, in fact, rules the mind? This temporal aspect of bioelectrochemical phenomenon that is conditioned to think of itself as a human being is but an unruly part of a greater whole, that seems to have no ultimate use for it upon the radical transformation of decomposition. Maybe there is a soul, and maybe there is an afterlife for that entity, but is conscious thought a permanent part of it? Or do we simply cease to be, upon deconstruction of the body? Just as most human ideals, justice, free will, ownership, authority, morality, seem to be nothing more than abstractions of the mind. The mind may be nothing more than a spot within a network of physical phenomena, here for a moment of clarity and awareness, only to seep away, as the light of a cooling ember, rising towards the night sky. How the stars seem to mock our graves with their burning numbers, and how big our plans, politics, and pain seem to us when we are so very, very small. These thoughts are with me now, in feeling as well as philosophy. And fear is my God. I must pray for deliverance. I must pray. I must.